Space transportation service, reusable rockets, networks of satellites, an ocean spaceport, and a dream of colonizing Mars, SpaceX has got it all. We hear about SpaceX's achievements daily. To name some, when the company made history by successfully launching 2 NASA astronauts to the ISS using its reusable Falcon 9 rocket. Ever wonder how much this privately held company makes? As SpaceX is making remarkable progress in space travel with its launch programs and others, today let's take a look at how this company makes money. Welcome to Elon Musk Zone. SpaceX, or Space Exploration Technologies Corp., is one of the most prominent and valued companies that is focused on space transportation and other technological innovations. Founded by Elon Musk in 2002, the goal of SpaceX is to safely and efficiently cut the costs of space exploration with its technological advancements. The major goal of Elon Musk and SpaceX, though? Colonizing the Red Planet. Taking baby steps in the colonization of Mars, Elon Musk first chose to mainly focus on space travel, and I must say that the company has made remarkable progress towards its goals. Before I tell you the sources from which SpaceX makes money, allow me to tell you a brief history of SpaceX. The first ever space expedition of SpaceX was in 2001 to Mars. It was an idea of a Mars venture. The project was to migrate a small nursery from Earth to Mars with its aims to analyze whether plant habitation was possible, while also encouraging space travel. And in 2002, Elon Musk set out to buy an intercontinental ballistic rocket for the journey of the nursery to Cosmotris. Back then, the cost he received was $8 million, which seemed to be costly for Elon Musk. This incident led Elon Musk to establish his rocket organization, so carefully studying how the rocket business works, SpaceX was born. After getting funds from many stores and about $100 million from his pocket, and with the help of his rocket designer Tom Mueller, in 2008, the Falcon 1 was created. Falcon 1 was the first rocket that was able to carry the nursery to the surface of Mars, and thus finishing its first ever mission. The first payload the rocket took to space was a Malaysian satellite RazikSat in 2009. And later on, Falcon 9 became the first rocket to enable space travel. Another 2 rockets, Dragon and Falcon Heavy, were developed for the same. And in May 2020, SpaceX successfully launched NASA astronauts into space, which was a first and honor only SpaceX got done. And that's not the only thing it's doing for NASA. SpaceX is currently said to deliver a $1.6 billion payload with NASA. It's under contract with NASA for dispatching almost 70 payloads. Well, there you have it, a glimpse of how SpaceX earns. Now, let's dig deeper and uncover all the sources from which SpaceX earns money, shall we? Essentially, SpaceX is a delivery service. When the company wants to send goods to the ISS or launch satellites into orbit, it uses its fleet of vehicles. As successful as SpaceX has been throughout the years, let's not forget the fact that they compete with various other companies for space delivery services. With that being said, it's time to take a look at some specific SpaceX revenue streams. Let's start with the governmental supply contracts that SpaceX receives. SpaceX has won several contracts from NASA to resupply the ISS. The most recent contract between NASA and SpaceX is the $2.9 billion contract of using Starship to take astronauts from lunar orbit to the surface of the moon. SpaceX won the contract in early April this year. However, a few days later, the competing parties of SpaceX, which are Blue Origin and Dynetics, protested the decision of NASA, and hence the contract was put on halt as of April 30th. Nevertheless, chances are high that SpaceX will get this project, and it will continue on soon. And if that were to happen, SpaceX would be putting $2.9 billion in its pocket. SpaceX has also worked with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, launching a satellite in 2012 to monitor the global sea levels and oceanic circulation. The revenue earned from this launch was around $82 million. The company also has a contract with the Air Force for the launch of the GPS satellite in 2015 and in 2020. A contract to provide 40% of all U.S. military launch requirements was won by SpaceX. In March 2021, the Pentagon also announced that it had signed 2 contracts with SpaceX for more than $159 million. In the agreement, SpaceX's Falcon 9 rockets will be launching 2 separate missions. The 2 contracts are set to be completed by the end of 2023. This contract marks SpaceX's 3rd contract with the Pentagon. Previously, the company won a $149 million contract to make a missile tracking satellite for DoD, which was also SpaceX's first government contract to build a satellite, besides winning 40% of all U.S. military to launch new rockets for the Space Force. The next source of revenue for SpaceX is through its Starlink project. Starlink is a network of satellites designed to give high-speed internet access to every nook and corner of the Earth. Although still in its infancy stage, SpaceX has already secured contracts with the government to provide high-speed internet to rural U.S. customers. SpaceX launched 2 demo satellites in early months of 2020, intending to place more than 4,000 satellites in the future to form its Starlink constellation array. SpaceX has now launched more than 950 Starlink satellites to date, and about 900 of them remain in orbit, constituting by far the largest constellation ever assembled. Starlink went into beta testing about 5 months ago, providing services in northern United States, Canada, and some parts of Europe. And the company says that now it has over 10,000 users globally. SpaceX charges beta customers $99 per month, and there's also an upfront charge of about $500 that goes towards the satellite dish and related kit. These satellites will provide low-cost internet access globally, including far-flung areas where conventional internet and mobile services cannot be provided cost-effectively. Finance service firm Morgan Stanley estimated that if the service offered by Starlink will be for $50 per month, it will give SpaceX $24 billion in annual free cash flow by 2040. But considering the number now, Starlink will earn SpaceX a lot more than $24 billion. And last but not least is SpaceX's launch missions. In 2020 itself, the company launched 26 missions, breaking its previous calendar year record of 21 launch missions set in 2018. Assuming an average revenue of $80 million per launch, the total revenue from each launch will mount up to around $2,008 million. Let's not forget the fact that the prices may vary, considering Falcon 9 launches start about $60 million and Falcon Heavy missions cost as much as $150 million. SpaceX additionally charges around $20 million more for complicated government space missions like resupplying ISS, putting satellites into orbit, or launching a GPS signal for the Air Force. And as of 2021, SpaceX has already ramped up its launch rate because they've already logged 15 Falcon 9 launches so far in 2021. All originating from Florida's Space Coast. Imagine the number of dollars SpaceX is about to make from all these missions, and it's only the 6th month of the year. According to Forbes, SpaceX raised around $1.16 billion via equity funding over the last 2 months per SEC filings, with the company now reportedly being valued at $74 billion. This compares to a previous valuation of $46 billion based on a $2 billion fundraise last August. Though the interest rates are low compared to historical levels, investors are very keen on investing in futuristics companies like SpaceX that have a strong record of innovation and execution. Hold up, these investments are done indirectly to SpaceX, which means that investors are investing in SpaceX indirectly by investing in the projects that it's working with. SpaceX is currently not publicly listed. However, if it ever is to be listed publicly, the Wall Street investors would go crazy, and the value of SpaceX might even triple in the future. What we do know is that SpaceX is worth billions of dollars and has the potential to become one of the most successful companies in history if it keeps on creating space tech for big shot customers like NASA and the US military. And if SpaceX does colonize Mars and execute its high-speed point-to-point travel on Earth, the number of bucks it's going to make will be game-changing. What do you think will be the worth of SpaceX by the end of 2021? Let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications for more. Thanks for watching Elon Musk Zone. See you on the next one.